husband.
So we continue the discussion from the morning. Those of us who had lunch together, we are really grateful to the cooks. We must say it was very delicious. So thank to the cooks. Shall we continue at the same point where we have finished?
If you have still in mind, you continue. I have some point later on.
We were speaking about some connections between spirituality and the social matters. How to bring spirituality, spiritual life, spiritual reality into social life, so that it works also in society, in modern society. Not just in every society, but particularly in modern society where we are living now. Society which is quite confused, filled with so many things that sometimes it's quite difficult. Sometimes one does not find time to come to discover one's real source. So then we begin to live on superficial levels, become entrapped into some manipulations by some political or some other leaders, by media, by new technologies like iPhones and so on, internet. So we have finished on this point. Maybe it would be good to go back into the spiritual source.
This morning we mentioned that there's an order in the universe, and this order no one can deny. Now, following this order, there is something that the human, for the time being the humans, miss realizing. Why is it that science failed? Why is it that human mind, following and believing in science as a religion, a new one, fail also? I think that the core of the problem is the ignorance of this order, the basis of everything, and this order manifested itself in ethics. Ethics meaning that, to make it short, don't do something that you don't want your neighbor does to you. This is very in a short way, but it can be extended in a very profound and much extended. Ethics means also that if we live according to the laws of ethics, we are reaching a state of consciousness which is really a consciousness corresponding to the human level. We cannot talk about ethics with the animal kingdom. Animals would live according to their instinct. And ethics is not, instinct has not any conscious link with ethics. To deal with ethics, necessarily we have to talk about consciousness and awareness. We humans, we do wrong things because we are not aware. We're not aware of our place in the universe. We're not aware that there is somehow this order, and this order manifests itself in the ethics, the laws, which is not morality, but it is the laws of the universal moral. Meaning that one a normal human being would not kill. Well, we don't kill another human being, it is for sure. Except for some cases as a military man, we are not talking about specific examples. But generally speaking, we don't kill. Normally, we don't steal neither. Well, it is a little bit more difficult. We don't lie, normally. All this is a matter of awareness. If we are really aware of what we are doing, then we are not going to repeat. We can do wrong things once, twice, and the third time we would think over and we say, well, what I have been doing is not right, so I change. You see, so this is the fundamental factor, which is awareness that we have talked about this morning. And awareness, ethics cannot be realized without awareness, meaning that somebody can just apply and respect the rules, and out of this respect and applying the rules, at a certain time, if the person has not done it with freedom and with awareness, the person will be appealed to change, and to change not for the better, but change in the sense that he will ignore ethics and do wrong things again. So the main thing is to understand and to be aware of things. And I would like to emphasize upon this notion of ethics, if we could discuss about this a little bit, to explore.
Well, I know quite several people who are speaking quite a lot about ethics and who are really striving for ethics, but are not quite aware in the sense as we are saying now. And then they became one or another one became manipulated by some politicians, for instance, by some clergymen, maybe some organization, and everything in the sake of ethics. And they still believe that they are doing in the sake of ethics, but because they are not aware, they just focus their their energy into some blind direction. And so it's really important that someone is aware in that whole sense, very large sense, not to import the principles of ethics from only one source, from one book, from one authority, but to discover the basic principles of ethics every day anew, trying these principles, trying to do the best from this, doing on oneself. So it's not a job of 1 hour, but it's a continuous process.
You talk about manipulation by using the term ethics. I think that many people play the game of self-convincing action, meaning that whatever they do, they would convince themselves that they are doing good and right. And this is the strength of the ego. The ego will fight up to the end, justifying and proving that it is wrong, it is right, even when it is wrong. I think that this convincing strength, sometimes it is doing very, very bad things, because when people don't like to think, there's always one who has the strength to convince them that this one is the leader, and follow, and then use whatever terminology they would use to please. Ethics, for example, is one thing, but it is at a very low level. I mean that if we apply the law of ethics to our daily life, I mean that it is a wonder that we can change drastically our life if we apply it really to our life. And I mean, instead of seeing the corruption in another one, we can see that by our doing, we are not so right. We are not We have to improve very much. And there, we should not use this self-convincing process to say, I am right, I continue to justify. See? And this is courage, in the sense that we're talking this morning, the courage of seeing oneself as one is, and not to see oneself as one dreams to be. Yeah.
Maybe one can add here the importance of inner silence. Silence is something similar to emptiness that we were speaking about yesterday. If I'm convincing myself about some statements, this is not inner silence, because then I have already some prerequirements that I want to hold on. But inner silence means that I'm really without any self-assertions, and so in that way I can really observe what is good, what is wrong, what does good to other people, what does not, how would I feel if somebody other would do something like I have done to others. But if I want to explore this carefully, then I must be in the state of inner silence, because otherwise all those voices, all those, these voices are sometimes quite loud from different sources outside, from authorities, from media and so on, from many people. These voices can be so loud that I cannot hear my my inner sense, where everyone has an inner sense, an inner feeling what is right and what is wrong, if somebody is in that pure state of awareness. But if I want to be to hear that very silent voice, I must go into inner silence, because maybe this inner voice is sometimes very silent, very subtle. So I must somehow go very deep into that state of silence, of emptiness, get drowned into this state. So this is also one of the meanings of meditation, to become accustomed to the state of inner silence.
Why did you catch all my ideas? I was about to suggest to talk about meditation, and you mentioned, this is marvelous, it is wonderful, wonderful. So, please go ahead.
Yes, meditation, meditation is not a technique. Especially in the West, many people are saying that about techniques of meditation, and bring inside this mantra or that. But well, this may help. Okay, yes, but the real meditation.
You are too kind to say it. Don't mislead them. Don't mislead them.
Excuse me.
Well, you see, everything can be meditation. It is a fake meditation.
Yes, yes.
Some people dance to meditate,
Yeah.
sing to meditate, eat to meditate, hug to meditate. What else? What else? You just add the word meditation to whatever you do. And this is really fake. I will not agree with that. I will not agree. I think it doesn't help at all, and it even mislead, may mislead the mind towards things, because the mind wants to invent many things to ease and to please itself. Meaning that I like, for example, I like this juice. I don't know whether I like it, but never mind. It is an example. I like this juice. I can drink it, and I make a yoga of drinking juice. There's so many yogas there, laughing yoga, hugging yoga. What is yoga? I mean, it is everything, so it is okay. No, stop it, because it is just misleading. It just means that either there is a manipulation, or it is absolutely distribution of ignorance. Sorry to say it, but I think that at a certain time we have to be drastic about the terminology. Otherwise, we are not going to come out of the. Yeah?
I didn't want to say that that is right meditation.
Yeah.
I wanted to say that this may help to some people on their labor of spiritual development. But this is not what we want to speak about today.
Yes. Well, I agree to your gentleness, but I stick to my idea that it does not help at all, and they have to change. That's all. Change the definition of meditation, meaning change understanding, because we give definitions according to our own understanding, right? And if we understand not well, we define wrongly. So we have to rectify our understanding. And of course, if in the audience there are people who are practicing meditation in drinking champagne, for example, they have to change. They have to change drastically. Yeah? Okay. What is meditation? Can you talk a little bit about it? Perhaps the audience will be very interested to listen to our point of view.
Well, I said it's not a technique. It's observing what there really is on the deeper level of consciousness. This is not separated from everything that is exists in the universe. Meditation is not separation from, is not an escape from reality. It is very close contact with the reality. Sometimes it's quite difficult because in meditation we can face many things that are not totally agreeable. So meditation is not an escape. But always meditation leads to some inner peace, because it must be somehow tamed meditation. In the beginning we are too nervous, like monkeys jumping here and there from one branch to another. So it takes quite a certain time before we calm down to accept that state of mind, that state of consciousness, so that we just go into another dimension of time, if I say so. So we don't hurry in that state. Time has no meaning like in our usual world. So we are totally free in that state. In that freedom, in that inner silence, we can really observe, we can discover what there really is. We are not striving for some happiness, even we are not fighting with some energies which are troubling us. We are just there observing. Well, those things are coming to us, but slowly they are somehow dissolving. Because if we persevere and meditate for years and years, then quite naturally all these contradictions somehow dissolve, get melted into another state of mind where everything is very peaceful, very calm. Time is not pressing us. We have a lot of time, so the best time for meditation is in the night when we don't have any obligations, maybe at 4 in the morning. This is in India it's called Brahma Muhurta time, when we really have time and don't need to look at the watch and so on. It's important that we don't hurry, because we don't follow some goal in meditation. We don't say, well, I shall meditate for 1 hour, and in this hour I shall achieve this and this and this. So this is nonsense. We simply sit down and observe what there really is, but this is not rational observation. This is just breathing with the whole lungs, breathing with the whole heart, all the presence of the universe outside and inside, and trying to calm all the things so that everything slowly comes together into one single entity, a single experience. It's quite difficult, so there are so many books on meditation. I have myself my favorite books, other people would probably have another favorite books. So I propose that everyone is reading also books, because this is of a certain help. Also, these books of gurus, they can only show us the door, but we must open the door and enter that space. There are many superficial books on meditation, especially those printed here in the West. I think that in
particularly bestsellers.
Particularly, yes. Meditation for success in 1 week. In I don't know which company, Microsoft or in Apple, they have rooms for meditation, so that the employers there are more efficient. And in Pentagon in America, they have also rooms for meditation. On the left side, they have rooms for those who want to meditate in single, alone. On the right side, there is a hall for meditating in company. So, so that they are more efficient in producing new strategies, new arms, and so on. So this can come out of such an approach. It's very good. I have said that we don't hurry when we meditate. The Western society is full of this hurry. Everything must go on very quickly, and so it's more difficult to find, to discover what meditation is here in this environment than maybe somewhere in more traditional cultures, which were not so much burdened with this quick flow of time as it is in modern society. So maybe some traditional books of meditation, it's not important that they are very new ones, maybe from India, from China and so on. They can tell us much more about what meditation is than all those shelves of quick success in meditation. In fact, I have discovered very, very few books written by Western masters on meditation. Very few. But I know much more about those traditional masters from India, from China, and so on, from Tibet. Also from some other parts of the world. It's not necessary that this is Asia. Even in American Indians, they had their own form of meditation, which was much more mature, much more serious, than these quick forms of Western meditations. Western meditation is quite often connected with healing. Well, Western society is ill in a certain sense, mentally ill, and so they cannot begin with meditation without stress on healing techniques. But these are again techniques. This is not the right entrance into the meditation. So this is only the foreroom before the room where meditation is. For preparation, maybe for that. If I speak too much about meditation, I'm afraid that I would begin that my ego will begin to grow.
I can
yes.
develop and try to give my contribution there. My point of view differs a little bit. I think that techniques are important in meditation, but techniques are not essential. If some beginner start to meditate, the first question is how. Right? Because we cannot say, all of a sudden, sit down and meditate, and then don't think about things, because the problem is that the mind is always disturbed, and the whole meditation process, method, is how to calm things down. So techniques are not to be excluded, but one should not think that meditation is just a matter of techniques, because it goes much beyond. Now, when one meditates, if one meditates at all, with what instruments one meditates? You see, the whole process of our thinking is based on our mind. We say the mind is the thinking factor, or the thinking means, because the mind is an instrument of measure. To think, to reflect, is to measure, in a way.
To compare dualism.
Yes, in our psyche, it is always measurement. So this is the thinking process. Now in meditation, this process of measuring, comparing, is taught to stop. And no one can stop all of a sudden like that. Otherwise it would be a technique of hypnosis or something, and it is no good. It is the contrary of spirituality. So one has to take step by step, and the first step is to see how the mind is so excited, so restless, so difficult to be tamed. And then after that, to see the thing is to start to work. See that it is, and slow down, meaning that this is not a matter of reflection or thinking or speculating about things, but just slow down by an act of will. It is the will coming there, and the will is not in the mind. The will is, yesterday we talked about intelligence, which is greater and higher than the mind in a way. And this element, this component, which is one of our components, it will regulate the thinking process, calm down, and at a certain point can reach this kind of calmness in the mind. Now, if we say that the aim of meditation is just to quiet the mind, we will be in a big mistake. This mistake mistake has been made by the Taoists of the end, about the 2nd century. In fact, Chuang-Tzu is the last one, and all the rest would think that meditation aim at the quietness of the mind, and they end up in what later on we call Quietism. Quietism meaning this is the doctrine of reaching the quietness of the mind at any rate, at any price, and that's it. Meaning that we will reach the quietness of the mind. It is the meditation process reach its end and its aim, and it is incomplete for my understanding. This is just the first step. The first step meaning that the mind has tremendous potentialities, because it can be used by the higher principle, like intelligence, like the will, in the pure will, and the mind can be used in the right direction. But in order to be used in the right direction, the mind should be quietened. An excited mind, irritated mind, messy mind, I mean, it is our mind, that cannot be used by this. And this is why we calm down, and this is the first step of meditation. Now, meditation has another aim, which I cannot define here, because in the quietness of the mind, it will show by itself. It is like the sun will shine if we remove all the clouds. And without seeing the sun, we cannot describe how the sun is to the blind. So the blind has to be healed, as you say. The healing process is to see and to correct what is not right in our life. Because if we continue to do wrong things all the time and we pretend to meditate, doesn't work. Doesn't work. Meaning that the basis of meditation should be ethics, should be right living, should be right thinking, right speech, everything should be upright, so that we could meditate in the right way. Otherwise, it is like you have mentioned, Microsoft has something to meditate to raise the level of production. The other one is to invent weapons, etc. Of course, the quiet mind is powerful, but if without this leading aim, which is defined by ethics, a quiet mind become powerful, and this power can be used wrongly. So it is the end of every business-based process for meditation. Just starting from the wrong side, meaning meditating to have a higher production, meditating to have a higher efficiency, etc. It is very limited, and in the long run, it will become a flop. As to the level of consciousness, all those meditations are fake. So the first step is to calm the mind. This is a big step, because as our friend said, it is like a monkey jumping from one branch to another. We have to calm it down, to tame it, to have it under our order, meaning that when one thinks, one knows one is thinking, and one has also to learn the capacity of stopping thinking if there's no need to think, and not to leave the mind running as a machine, the motor running all the time. Yeah? Because the mind running all the time, at the end of the road, you are towards a nervous depression. All burnouts of our time came from this non-stop mind processing all the time without stopping. It is energy consuming. process, so that at the end you are worn out without thinking much, because the machine is turning by itself all the time. So to meditate, first, to be quiet. Second, to be master of the mind, so that one can think or stop thinking at will. And then the third step is another thing. Perhaps it's no use to talk about today, another session. But the first and the second step, once realized, it is already a drastic change in our life. Because we stop being a monkey among other monkeys. So to make a resume, if you allow me to do it, just to easy the thing, meditation is not a matter of techniques, although techniques may help. Techniques are important but not essential. A meditation practice demands a requisition, which is the ethical life. And the aim of meditation is to tame the mind. First, to get it quiet, and second, to master it, and to learn the capacity of thinking and stop thinking at will. Is it clear? The quality of a silent mind is very similar to emptiness, but emptiness is not void without nothing. It is fullness of something. We don't know that thing, so we call it empty. It is like in the Tao-Te-Ching. People don't know it, we call it Tao. So it's the same here. There's no name. And if the thing can be named, it ceases to be the Tao. But anyhow, without knowing how to name it, we just call it Tao. And this is the same here. What is it we don't know? So we call it emptiness. And silence is the emptiness on the level of sound. And it is not absence of sound. It is the resounding sound, but which is not audible. What should we do? Should we break now or we proceed to the comments?
We are 40 minutes in the session.
We are 40?
40 minutes, yes. We can make a break. We can make a break if somebody has a question.
40 minutes after we started. 45.
Okay. Okay, so we can continue then.
Maybe we can still continue a little, yes. When what follows after that is the best that everyone discovers by oneself, by himself, herself. So it, like we said, Tao cannot be expressed in words. as Lao Tzu said, the Tao that can be named is not the eternal Tao. The name that can be defined is not the eternal name. And so on. This is the first aphorism in his.
But you use meditation a lot in your work,
Yes, I did. But, well, as I said, meditation in those silent hours, I usually do it in the night, in those silent hours impregnates all the other hours of the day. So that one, also other activities become some kind of meditation, have many elements of meditation. It's not that silent meditation, but it still keeps many benefits of meditation. So there is not a split, there is not something like that, and now I shall meditate for 1 hour and then I shall go to normal life. It's not like this. If meditation is sincere, then meditation impregnates all other life, and then we cannot develop some new weapons in Pentagon, for instance.
Well, the potentiality of the mind is there, prepared to be inventive. So it can invent good things or bad things. Yes. And we can use this. It is not called meditation in itself. I would call it a guided thinking process, meaning that we are focusing our mind towards some subject and develop the subject with inventivity. Now, a good person develops it in a way for the well-being, spiritual well-being of humanity, and another person will develop it in the machine gun, more performing in killing. I mean, the same thing viewed in the technical way is the same, but ethically it is opposite.
Yeah. So one must be quite careful to understand the whole, not only one part of the whole, but really the whole. Hitler, he was meditating also. At least he thought that he was meditating. He had a circle of people who were importing some spiritual ideas from Asia. And, we know how it ended, all that.
And he was absolutely guided to attack Russia. Attack Russia. So it is the end of him. It is that he called it the spirituality. It is one part of the mediumistic. He was a kind of mediumistic person. So anyhow, let us hope that there is no big Hitler. The small Hitlers are now surrounding daily life. They are enough.
Well, with Hitler it was, most of the world was aware of what the problem was, but now there are new problems, and maybe we are still in a point when most of the world is still not aware of what those real problems are. So I think about this financial totalitarianism, for instance, is again a kind of totalitarianism, no less dangerous than Nazi totalitarianism.
If we put under control and master our mind as to greed, then we are fighting against this current. But if we continue to be greedy, so we are having that. This is so clear. I mean, that as everything is one. If we move somewhere in the opposite direction, it can cure the planet. But everyone is in the same trend of the greed. So how to cure the thing? In the one way we want to cure, and the another way we don't. So it cannot be cured.
So here is the meaning of effort, the right effort. To to put on oneself the right effort to help the positive way. Because this is not always the easiest way. Usually it's more difficult way, less comfortable. Because it's so easy to please someone who has power, and then we are part of his machinery, and he will give us money maybe, and it's quite easy for us, but then we lose our self-awareness, our spiritual life.
It is a book of time where there is a sale of everything. Some people are selling their soul.
In prostitution.
You talked that now the science has given people, or we would say also technological advancement has given people the possibility to put aside many things, to see, to have more time, and in spite of this being trapped in that round of technology and of this materialistic view of wanting to have more and more. Would see that every time has its own possibilities of understanding, and maybe some centuries ago the possibilities or the stress was in some things, but what would you see to be the possibilities for people to understand well, if I would say unity of life, it is a very general and very big idea, but to go more deeply, because of course we say that it is the negative side now, the technology is giving the negative side, we have more time, but how does the present culture, our culture here, give us the possibility to use it, to overcome it?
Well, this modern technology, it may have some good sides also. For instance, through internet we can come into contact with many good ideas. We can develop some social circles on internet, but quite serious circles, not of that just superficial side, but there are many quite serious to exchange information, what is going on, because mass media, they mainly manipulate us with some official information. So, for instance, me personally, I can get not less of serious information from internet than from some good media, mass media. So internet may be important if you want to use it with responsibility, so that it's not misused just for losing time. Facebook and so I should not say that technology is dangerous in all aspects. There are good aspects, but one must use this as a tool which is proper in the right way, in the right moment. So yesterday I said that we should not pick up cherries with scissors, because we can do it by hands, for instance. So we don't misuse scissors for picking cherries. So in the same way, also modern technologies should be used. So with some responsibility, we should not be So there is so much of admiration of this new technology. Oh, the best phone. Mine is better than yours. Mine costs 200, yours only 150. I have 100 gigabytes inside, and you have only 50. so this is totally superficial. But this can. Well, personally, I use these technologies for contacts with serious people, then for mathematical calculations that I need, and so on. I choose very carefully those segments of usage for this which are convenient from practical and also from spiritual point of view. But I know quite a lot of people, also many of those who I know very well that spend too much of time on by the screen. So I think that again also this has two sides, and if we decide ourselves to be among those who are aware, we can still use these modern technologies, but with this proper charge, with this responsibility. So the problem is that we are not somehow enslaved by them. So most of those people who admire these technologies know very little about techniques, about how this is inside, how chips are functioning and so on. And especially those who admire this the most, because they somehow mystify it. And God is inside this device. It's so beautiful. So again, here one must be aware in every moment. But young people now. The companies, they are selling these devices especially to young people, because they have discovered this is very important segment. They are buying a lot of this, and it's easier to manipulate young people because they are not yet well spiritually awakened, and so they will fall into this trap more easily. So I think for parents it's quite important to discuss with children all these things, so that they don't buy just everything that the children wants to have, so that the children don't begin to believe into this God of wealth, of God of that image that is done by all these devices. Otherwise, I think that if we compare modern time with old times, maybe 200 years ago, I could hardly say that now it's worse than it was before, because 200 years ago people, they were peasants and they had to work from early morning until late evening in the fields. On Sunday they went to church. This was all of their spiritual life. And they were somehow led by the priests, so their spiritual life was very narrow. So I could hardly say that that was better than it is now, because now we have possibilities. We have possibilities to choose, to discover. If one is prepared to awake internally, to shed away all that which is not necessary, not to sit by the screen 6 hours a day, as it is in America. In the United States, children are sitting by the screen 6 hours a day, by TV. And then there is also computer and so on, but only TV takes 6 hours.
Can I add something to this technology? There is a very interesting theory about technology, because technology is not here by mistake. It has to have something on a higher plan. according to Nikola Tesla, for instance, and his theory about wars. He said that something like this will be developed in the future, like internet and mobile phones, so that people will be able to exchange energy between on a global level between us, because everything we think and write is exchange of energy. And he said that wars are nothing else but this exchange energy potential. And how is this? I think that this is quite similar as a theosophic theory of wars. So is it possible that something wars? Why
Wars.
War.
Fighting.
Fighting. Yes. So do you think it's possible that something like this is happening through this media, through this technology, right now?
Wars. I think it is possible, yes. So Tesla, he foretold quite a lot of things that we are using our internet and TV and so on. So the problem is that we know very little about what these who have some leading positions in military, what they are doing. So there are many rumors about, for instance, about the so-called HAARP. Yes.
Better not to talk about it, otherwise you will be getting in trouble. You will be getting in trouble.
So there are rumors that the weather, which is so confused in the last years, may be the result of experiments that they are doing without any responsibility. So they are playing with the things in the sake of getting power. So this is possible, but I don't know. So there are also many so a great fear, paranoia about what may be happening in some secret places. So there are these two extremes. On one side there is paranoia, and on the other side there are statements by the officials that nothing is going on there. So probably there is something in between. I think that something is going on there because, for instance, in Alaska there are really these HAARP fields of antennas, and they are employing them. So, but I cannot give any precise statement.
Yes,
so
perhaps I wasn't clear enough. I wanted to say that is it possible that this exchange of information, which is going on through mobile phones and internet on a global level, can prevent us from wars? Because exchange of our energetic potential is so quick and often that potential is always in equality. That's Nikola Tesla theory of wars, and he said that something like this will develop in the future and will prevent us from next wars.
Yes, thank you for clarification.
And I find something similar with theosophic theory of why there were so many wars. Why? Because of
I don't know
exchanging.
about what you're talking about, theosophical theories.
Yes, I read in theosophic books that war was always because of mixing cultures and potential energetic of different nations and so on.
I have not read about it.
Okay.
So it is, you cannot generalize something, one opinion. Maybe it is expressed by one person,
Yes.
but or otherwise we do not have the clarity of things to. I have not heard about the theory of war
No.
in theosophical circle.
Well, I hope that this exchange of information can contribute a lot. I think, but again, it can be later. This new awareness of what is really going on, it can again be misled by the centers of social power, like it happened in the so-called Arab Spring. Egypt, Morocco, Libya, Tunisia, Syria. So in the beginning, in the first months, people were really striving for good changes in society, democracy and so on. But then very quickly, this new movement was misled by political centers from other countries, from America, Europe and so on. And then it turned in quite another direction. I know too little about what there was really happening, but it seems that we should have to do even much more in this on this labor to prevent also this second stage when the new awareness is may become misled.
You talk about Tesla. I am full of hope that in the very near future we don't need to use the usual source of energy. Energy is everywhere. And Tesla has a theory about this. In fact, the energy we're using electrically by alternative current, it is Tesla's. He fought the thing with Edison, and industrial and also production-wise, he was forgotten, Tesla. Forgotten in the sense inverted commas written forgotten, and but we are using it after some time because he was right. So we apply what he and after some time, of course, we go to another step. I am sure that the next step will save from us many misery, like lack of source of energy and this and that and this. They don't talk much about this. I'm sure that there are plans on the upper levels of politicians to foresee something about this, but they want to use up the petrol, etc., because they have a very powerful lobby about it.
In the end, these new changes somehow emerge at the end, come to into reality. Maybe they are hindered for a certain period, but at the end, I know an example, aluminum, this metal, aluminum. It was invented 2,000 years ago. In Rome, there was a scientist who was producing aluminum. But then I don't know which Tsar, Caesar ordered to kill him because he was afraid that the silver in his treasury would lose in price because aluminum is similar to silver. So the scientist was killed. Aluminum was forgotten for nearly 2,000 years, and only in the middle of the 19th century it was rediscovered. So at the end we use much of aluminum. It's one of the most used metals.
Aluminum now has become the curse of our time.
Yes.
And it is discovered that it is the origin of many cancers.
Yeah, cancers and mental illness.
Dementia and Alzheimer, whatever.
But again, it's the same story. If we used aluminum with some responsibility only for those those purposes where it's really useful, then it would make no harm. But the aluminum is used without any responsibility quite often in agriculture, in weather conditions and so on. So because it's sprayed to improve weather, but weather is not improved in this way.
Story is that the story in Atlantis ended bad with same.
Yes, some people wanted to
same
have
experience,
power. That's always the same story. The ego of a group of people who want to have power, and they misuse this technology. In the technology, we have become so strong with these new technologies. We can ruin the whole earth, and so we must be really very careful how to use these technologies. Once I was riding in Asia, in Sri Lanka, on the back of an elephant through a jungle, and I admired the elephant, how carefully he's going, how carefully he observes every step where he puts the leg down, because he is so great that the elephant cannot afford to stumble and to fall down. It would be hurted too much. And so he is extremely careful just because he is so great and so strong. And this is the lesson for us, because we have made such a tremendous power with our technologies. We must be extremely careful how to use this power. Like an elephant. You know that elephants are very, very wise creatures, very wise animals.
Faithful and very huge memory about everything.
We talked in Paris that I think the elephants of the humanity, they have the sense that they cannot, they would like to make the full steps, but they know that they cannot afford it if the big nations or the big ones. So, I think we came to that point that we know that we must not make any mistake, but we're looking for it.
And now we have come to a point that we should be aware that we are all interconnected. If we do harm to somebody other, or even if it is on the other side of the globe, that would harm also ourselves.
This butterfly effect.
Yes, yes.
Butterfly effect. This is good.
If a butterfly in Beijing flaps with the wings, it may happen that a few days after that there will be a tornado in California, because these relations are so subtle and so many are there, so that even such a small event can produce a very great event sometime later. So this is a part of the theory of chaos. It's a mathematical theory of chaos, and it can be proven by modern mathematics. The computers, they have simulated many such systems. It is true that. But we can never foretell what will happen after a few days, but this may happen. It's not impossible.
We are using here the butterfly effect as to the level of understanding to add to the future revolution. Not revolution with arm, but the revolution to change the paradigm.
Yeah, exactly. If you can do one thing here, something
Yes.
changes
Yes.
somewhere else. Yeah, thank you.
I have a feeling that next 10 years are very intense in front of humanity, but that we can do a lot in the next 10 years. It's my feeling that maybe it's not far that I think that
Less than
whole
10
humanity,
years.
Less than 10, yes.
that the whole humanity is there, that it will awaken.
Half
and
of the
awaken.
7. Half of the 7, meaning 3 years and a half.
And maybe that's why a lot of them are really in a hurry to do some things before they wake up. Because after waking up, you cannot do, you will not be able to do the same things.
Same wrong things.
Same wrong things. Yeah.
mistakes.
I have one question. We spoke about the manipulation much of the time today, and you also mentioned self-manipulation. So people are convincing themselves that they don't need to
All the time.
change all the time and so on. Yes, that's what maybe also Hannah Arendt mentioned in her book. Lie and True in Politics. She said the mother of all manipulations is self-manipulation. And so it seems that we have this very strong manipulation from the whole system to the population of average people, also from the part of religion organizations, which we did not mention today. So it looks like the whole system is trying to press people to stay on the lower level of consciousness. And on the other side, we also have our own, let's say, habits that we rather manipulate ourselves instead of, putting an effort to be aware and to be, also critical about ourselves. So what do you think, where is the potential now for this, if we want to change something in this, let's say, 3.5 years?
Be true to yourself.
Be true to yourself. as many people as possible.
Nothing to add more.
Yeah. There is no other, let's say,
It
light
is on the
or-
verge now.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes when you can see on the scale, it's just 1 gram more,
Yes.
and it is. No? And we are in need of 1 gram.
A critical mass.
Yes, we are in the critical situation. So be true to yourself,
Mhm.
and this effort, because it is a real effort, to see things as they are, as you are, and not what you dream of.
Mhm. Yeah, it said not your
Not dream
dreams.
of.
Yes.
Because if you dream of yourself, it's always idealistic.
Mhm.
A hero, somebody very, you see, but see, we are first human being. We have obligations as a human being, but those obligations does not confer on us the status of a hero. It is normal that a human being has to comply with responsibilities, that's all.
Mhm.
Just take it, without dreaming that we...
That is also my feeling many times, that people, we ask for freedom and for pleasures and so on, but we forget for responsibility.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And if we want also, this is really a part of manipulation. See, I'm telling you a joke now. In the 80s, there's a kind of people want to take all the properties of the rich to give to the poor. Well, we agree because it is fair, okay? Now the problem will be raised in this joke, meaning in the workers' union, there are one person, the leader, say, let's share everything, the properties of the rich people. Well, everybody say, yes, let us do it. But let's take every good cars and distribute them to the poor people. Yes, let's do it. Let us take every bicycle to give to the poor people. There's the silence in the audience. Let us take the chicken in your hen house to share to those who are hungry. Silence when people start to leave the meeting. Because the truth is that everyone in the audience got a bicycle and got a hen house. So you want to share what? It is not sharing, it is to take. You see, so the spirit of sharing is quite different. Don't try to take and make revolutions, and be content with what you have and share the surplus that you have. That's all. And not to take and to give. It is just kind of pirate's act. It is why all the system as communism fell down and tumbled down. Because as a basis, at the beginning of the thing, it is not right.
I'm not quite sure what did you mean about these 3.5 years. You were talking about the change.
Or just take it as a...
No, or 7 years, 10 years, doesn't matter. You're talking about the switch of the consciousness or about the switch of the system?
You see, when I say something like that, it is a test for myself. Where the attention is focused on. There are many things spoken and said, and you stick to this point. It is a detail. Maybe the detail is true. Who knows? I'm not going to tell you it is true. Yeah? Take it as a hypothesis. But it is a test that the mind, I have succeeded in my test, meaning that I want to show that in the whole thing, the mind is always focused on one detail. You see what I mean? So the whole thing you will leave out, and you see just one detail, 3 years and a half. But you will see in 3 years and a half something happened. And forget it for the time being. Don't ask questions about it. It's just a detail.
But sometimes
It is a little bit titillating.
that sometimes this detail is this 1 gram missing.
No, it is not the 1 gram missing. The 1 gram missing is what we talked a little bit before. This gram missing is that, what is it already? This we are talking
About the
about.
level that
Yes,
that
yes.
you need 1
About
gram.
the critical mass that we need to...
Yes,
About this
yes.
critical mass. This
Yes, it is just one. And through the butterfly effect,
Mhm.
we can create more and more to
Yeah,
make it
exactly.
the balance in a good sense and not in the bad sense.
I understood.
Very simple
That's
question. What are you willing to do in these 3.5 years to develop, or just wait what will happen? That is the point. You understand?
Yeah.
Okay.
Nothing, yes?
If everybody will be silent, it's 4 o'clock. Exactly, but you are the master, so.
What is meditation? Meditation is the characteristic of a human mind. Animals cannot meditate. Only humans can. don't miss this characteristic. And in meditation, beyond the quietness of the mind, one can realize that one's own true nature is more than a human being. There is no need to speculate about it, but one thing is sure: meditation is meant to the discovery of the true nature of a human being, which is beyond the human status. One just have one feeling. This is the feeling of gratitude towards whatever we may call. But one can have this gratitude because what makes us to be conscious, to be aware, and then to be aware not only of oneself, but aware of oneself inside the cosmos, meaning the awareness is from outside, inside, everywhere, and this is just one feeling, gratitude. There's a poet in Asia who writes, "What is the grain of dust? What the grain of dust has reincarnated to me and give me the capacity of feeling, thinking, and transforming myself to another state of things." What is this sunshine which has transformed the state of things to make the grain of dust being aware of the universe? And I think that it is our status. What's the grain of dust? What is the grain of dust of space? Because all of us came from space. We cannot deny it. Yeah, it is. And then out of the dust of space, there's something as a miracle having taken place, so that this awareness of everything, and out of the darkness, this light coming and shining the consciousness. That is the real miracle of life.
So that this drop of consciousness incarnated in us reflects the universal consciousness. So gratitude that we are incarnated in human body, because then we can reflect this universal consciousness. Even if we are only a drop of this consciousness, a speck of dust.
What is reasoning? The drop of consciousness or the dust of space? With that qualm, let us end our session. Shall we end the session?
We may
Yes,
end,
yeah, we may end. Well, thank you for your attention and your
Thank you.
participation.
Thank you.
Thank you.